While the RBI could cut repo rate for the first time in 5 years after keeping it unchanged for 2 years, the Reserve Bank of India's six-member Monetary Policy Committee is likely to cut the rate at which RBI lends to other banks, by 25 basis points in the upcoming meeting scheduled from February 5 to February 7. If the cut does come, it will be first in nearly 5 years. A 25 basis point reduction in the repo rate will bring it down from 6.25 to 6.25% from 6.5. 1 basis point is 1/100th of a percentage point. This would be the first monetary policy announcement by the new RBI governor, Sanjay Malhotra, who assumed office December last year. We do believe that the repo rate cut is on the card soon, as the budget has done well to spur growth, and with expectations of inflation to come down, this could be the right time. The Union Budget 25-26 announced a cut in personal income tax and also revise the limits of tax deduction at source. These measures are meant to provide much needed stimulus to consumption demand. At the same time, retail inflation's or consumer price index inflation eased to 4-month low of 5.22% in December from 5.48% in previous month. We expect a 25 basis point rate cut in February 25 policy. Cumulative rate cuts over the cycle could be at least 75 basis points, with two successive rate cuts over February and April, said an economic report by the State Bank of India. With an intervening gap in June 25, the second round of rate cuts could start from October 25, the report said. Subnave said the RBI has already announced liquidity enhancement measures that have improved conditions in the market. This appears to be a prelude to the impending rate cut. Last week, RBI has announced three measures: $5 billion forex swap, 60,000 crore of open market operations, and 50,000 crore worth of 56 variable day repo rate to improve liquidity in the banking system. The policy will be announced amidst the global uncertainty, with US President Donald Trump of announcing tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and China. Over the past few days, the tariffs on Canada and Mexico have been postponed for a month. Tariffs triggered a fear of global trade wars, resulting in a rise in the dollar against major currencies on Monday. The rupee plunged below 87 to an all-time low of $87.29 on Monday. The puzzle is to manage rupee movements with liquidity, because if dollars are sold, it will draw out liquidity. All eyes are on RBI now for monetary action. If RBI reduces the repo rate to 6.25%, all external benchmark lending rates linked to repo rate will come down by 25 basis points, giving relief to borrowers as their equated monthly installments come down. Lenders may also reduce interest rates on loans that are linked to the marginal cost of fund based lending rate system, where the full transmission of 250 basis points hike in the repo rate between May 22 and Feb 23 did not take place. In response to the 25 basis point hike in the policy repo rate since May 22, banks have revised upwards their repo linked EBLR by a similar magnitude. The 1 year median MCLR, however, has increased by 75 basis points during May 22 and December 24. Bank of Baroda's Subnavis also expects some changes in the forecast on growth. The National Statistical Office has projected 6.4% for the year. It would be interesting to see if RBI would provide a forecast for growth in FY26, though this normally is published in April policy. In December 24 monetary policy, the RBI had slashed the GDP growth estimate to 6.6% from an earlier projection of 7.2. If RBI reduces the repo rate to 6.25%, all external benchmark lending rates linked to the repo rate will come down by 25 basis points. All external benchmark lending rates linked to the repo rate will come down by 25 basis points. giving relief to borrowers as their EMIs will come down. Lenders may also reduce interest rates on loans that are linked to the marginal cost of fund-based lending (MCLR), where the full transmission of 250 basis point hike in the repo rate between May 22 and Feb 23 did not take place. In response to 250 basis point hike in the policy rate repo rate since May 22, banks have revised upwards their repo-linked EBLR by a similar magnitude. The one-time median MCLR, however, has increased by 175 basis points during May 22 to December 24. Bank of Baroda Subnavis also expects some changes in the forecast on growth. NSOs have projected 6.4% this year. It would be interesting to see if RBI would provide a forecast for growth in FY26, though this normally is published in its April policy. Pulses and Atmanirbharta. The budget's 100 crore mission for achieving self-reliance in pulses comes even as India's imports set a new high in the current fiscal. That said, India did achieve near Atmanirbharta just 2 years ago. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman announced the launch of six-year mission for Atmanirbharta and Pulses, mission for Atmanirbharta and Pulses, with a special focus on Tur, Urad and Masoor, with a special focus on Tur, Arhar, Turad and Masoor. The 25-26 budget has allocated 1,000 crore towards the scheme, which aims at providing minimum support price-based procurement, post-harvest warehousing solutions, and as for the three pulse crops. The National Agricultural Cooperative Marketing Federation and National Cooperative Consumers Federation will be ready to procure these as much as offered from the farmers who register with these agencies and enter into agreements. Significantly, this comes even as India's pulses imports during April to November were valued at $3.28 billion, 56.6% higher than $2 billion for the corresponding period of 2023. At this rate, imports for 24-25 fiscal year could reach $5.9 billion, surpassing the previous all-time high of $4.2 billion. Reversal of Atmanirbharta between 23 and 2014 and 26-17, India's pulses imports rose in value from 1.83 to 4.24 and quantity from 31 lakh tons to 66 lakh tons. Subsequently, they fell from 25 lakh ton in 2018-19, 29 in 2019-20, 24 in 2020-21, 27 in 2020-22, and 24 in 22-23. The accompanying table shows imports of all major pulses declining substantially after 2017-18. The 5 years from 2018-19 to were marked by countries achieving relative Atmanirbharta and significant drop in imports, especially of Matar and Chana. However, there has been a reversal since during 23-24 drought year, imports surged to 47 lakh tons. Masoor shipments record hit a record it alongside Lacton 16 Lacton alongside a resurgence in that of Matar. The current fiscal has already seen imports touch 40 Lacton with Tur Arhar crossing 10 Lacton for the first time in Matar, a 7-year high. In other words, Centre's proposed new Atmanirbharta and pulses comes barely 2 years after India achieved near Atmanirbharta. Domestic pulses production, as per the Agricultural Ministry's data, increased from 192 lakh ton to 2733 lakh ton and 260 lakh ton in 22-23. This was mainly courtesy of two crops, chana and moong. Chana output went from 95 to 135 and 122 in 22-23. For the same years, Moong output went from 14 to 31 and 36. That in turn enabled by the development of short duration varieties. Traditional Chena varieties take 140 to 150 days to grow from seed to grain while requiring 1 to irrigations. Newer varieties can be harvested in 120 days with farmers having to give a single irrigation at most. They can sow from end September to mid-October after harvesting of the Kharif crop and use the residual moisture left by it in the soil. The breeding breakthroughs have been even greater in Mung, where farmers today take as many as 4 crops. The first one is during Kharif, with sowing from end June to mid July and harvesting after mid September. Second is during Rabi, third is during spring, and last one over summer. The summer and Rabi crop mature in 50-60 days, while the Kharif takes longer. In Mung, Indian scientists have bred varieties not just short duration but also photothermo-insensitive, being non-sensitive to temperature or photoperiod, the length of time in a 24-hour period that plants are exposed to light. They can practically be grown anytime, anywhere. Breeding apart, the government has made concerted effort as MSP procurement of both chana and mung. Such procurement amounted to 25 lakh ton in 22-23 and 23 lakh ton in 23-24 for the farmer, while 4 and 3.35 lakh ton for the same in for the latter. The Narendra Modi government probably wants to replicate the above success in Tur, Arhar, Urad and Masoor. Arhar, Urad and Masoor, but that will be easier said than done for the two reasons. To start with, there are growing limitations, particularly in Arhar, which was traditionally 250 to 70 days crop yielding around 20 quintals per hectare. Breeders have been brought the duration down to 150-180 days with 15-16 quintals hectare yields, but that's still comparatively long and low. As a result, Arhar cultivation is confined largely to the refined Marathwada, Vidarbha region of Maharashtra and northern Karnataka, where farmers have fewer alternative cropping patterns. Atmanirbharta in Tur Arhar would perhaps require the development of hybrids which mature within 140-150 days, giving 18-20 quintal hectare yields. Second factor has to do with policy ambiguity. Modi government wants to put farmers, expand pulses, acreages, and plant these nitrogen fixes in leguminous plants instead of more water guzzling cereals. But tur is now wholesaling at an average of 7,200 to 7,300 per quintal in Maharashtra's Latur and Karnataka's Kalburgi markets as against its MSP of 7,500. Moreover, the center on January 20 allowed duty-free imports of tur arhar for an additional year. Imports of much other pulses, matar, masoor, urad, and chana also attract zero duty at the moment. Only imports of large Kabuli chana are being permitted at a 66% duty, while imports altogether restricted in the case of mung. With domestic production likely to rebound after the drought induced trip to 246 lakh ton in 23-24 and retail milled dal inflation too easing to 3.83 in December, the Modi government may have to take a call soon to restore import duties to levels that incentivize farmers to plant and achieve goal of near Atmanirbharta in pulses. To switch from gas to electricity, the Ladi Pao came to India with Portuguese when they established a colony in Goa. Pao means bread. Wherever people from Portuguese territories migrated, this bread traveled with them. So when Goans moved to Bombay, they set up Goan bakeries and started making pao. Why the center plans to establish a national cooperative university? The Union Minister of State of Cooperation, Krishan Pal Gurjar, on Monday introduced in Lok Sabha a bill to establish Tribhuvan Sahakari University and declare the new university an institution of national importance. The cooperative university will be established on the campus of the Institute of Rural Management, Anand. Proposed university will impart technical and management education as well as training specific to the cooperative sector, promote research and development. India's ambitions to break into the SMR value chain, the three big enablers in the budget: Rosatom's SMR, Trump is not transactional. RBI's next move: central bank should allow the rupee to adjust ease policy rates to support growth. So that's all in this. See you in the next one.